This is WFYI News Now. It's August 11th, and I'm Abriana Herron. On today's show, the Indianapolis City-County Council announced next steps after a sexual harassment allegation investigation. A Marion County DEI committee changes its name to Cultural Excellence Committee. Governor Mike Braun reappoints 3 trustees to a Purdue University board. And the unveiling of the annual cheese sculpture at this year's state fair.
We try to incorporate as many messages very subtly, like the calcium, riboflavin, thiamine, zinc, B2, B5, B9, A, D, C, all the vitamins that are an essential part of dairy products.
Those stories coming up. But first, a community center that serves more than 300 families on Indianapolis's northwest side will temporarily close its doors. Jill Sheridan has more.
The Fay-Bicard-Glick Neighborhood Center will undergo an intensive audit amid financial challenges, according to a spokesperson. The center provides services to the community, including a food pantry, a child care center, educational programming, and financial support. Leadership changes made by the board this summer resulted in the departure of longtime CEO Patrice Duckett-Brown. Other cutbacks to staff and services were made last month. In a statement, the center says the financial challenges were the result of overstaffing and overextending support for families. The child care center will close next week. A date to reopen has not been announced. I'm Jill Sheridan.
The Indianapolis City-County Council has announced its next steps following the investigation into the city's handling of inappropriate workplace behavior and sexual harassment allegations. Hannah Holtz reports.
The Rules and Public Policy Committee will now review the findings of the Fisher-Phillips report and develop recommendations for changes to the city's HR reporting protocols. All counselors will also be able to submit additional questions about the investigation to Fisher-Phillips. Earlier this summer, several counselors had expressed concern about the scope of the investigation and requested the firm be available for additional questions. The first draft of the Rules and Public Policy Committee report will be released for public comment within the next month ahead of a special committee meeting. I'm Hannah Holtz.
The Health and Hospital Corporation of Marion County changed the name of one of its Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion committees this summer. The renamed committee is now called the Cultural Excellence Committee. Ben Thorpe reports the change comes as Indiana has worked to remove DEI language and positions across websites, departments, and documents.
The meeting happened in June of this year, with the Board of Trustees quickly moving to change the name of the committee, saying that it better represented the scope of what it does. The resolution on the name change was approved unanimously without comment. When reached for a statement on the change, a spokesperson for the board said that the mission of the Health and Hospital Corporation remained to protect the health of all residents, especially those historically underserved. Quote, "Equitable health care need not be a political issue as it is a public health imperative. Scientific consensus confirms that health outcomes are shaped by the conditions in which people live, work, and grow." The spokesperson said that the changes were not prompted by the governor's efforts to remove DEI initiatives from state government. I'm Ben Thorpe.
Governor Mike Braun reappointed 3 members to Purdue University's Board of Trustees, Sonny Beck, Malcolm D. Krieger, and Sean Taylor. He also named Reagan Kester, an agribusiness major, as the new student trustee. The governor appoints most of Purdue's 10-member board. That influence over Indiana college governance has drawn more attention since Braun took office. Braun removed all alumni-elected trustees from Indiana University's board and replaced them with his own picks earlier this year. And for our final story today, it was gouda vibes at the Indiana State Fair last week with the unveiling of the annual cheese sculpture. Samantha Horton reports the art installation continues to be an utter delight to visitors.
The cheese sculpture takes inspiration from this year's fair theme, the soundtrack of summer. The piece features a jukebox with lights, a milkshake on a turntable, and lots of mild cheddar cheese, about 1,500 pounds. Over the past week, Sarah Kaufman, known as a cheese lady, has been churning out the piece with her cheddar half, Nancy Baker. Kaufman says if people look closely at the sculpture, they'll find subtle nods to the nutrition that dairy provides.
We try to incorporate as many messages very subtly, like the calcium, riboflavin, thiamine, zinc, B2, B5, B9, A, D, C, all the vitamins that are an essential part of dairy products.
People can move on down to the Ag Hort building to see the sculpture now until the last day of the state fair on Sunday, August 17th. I'm Samantha Horton.
That's all for today's episode of WFYI News Now. Our podcast is produced by Drew Dodlin and Zach Bundy, with support from the news team at WFYI and public media journalists across the state. Our news director is Sarah Neal Estes. Kendall Antron produced our music, and I'm your host, Abriana Herron. If you like today's episode, remember to subscribe and share, and follow WFYI on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube to check in on our newsroom throughout the day. Thanks for listening. We'll be back tomorrow.